What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Celtics Daily Channel, and it is official. 1 week from Boston Celtics basketball. That's right, the 22nd, Wednesday the 22nd. Celtics are taking on the 76ers with Hospital Embiid and the rest of the Philly crew. We get a kind of a quick one today, surprisingly. I feel like we've been hit with the barrage of news over the last few days. Today was a little bit quiet, but we are going to mention our guy Al Horford a little bit. Let's do some award season predictions. I want to hear from you guys too, like where you're landing. And I'll do, we'll have like a Boston slant, but then maybe some non-Boston people in there. Then we have some crazy stuff from Missoula yesterday where we're just talking about how he wants to be portrayed maybe or seen in a different light. And good Lord, he was wilding out yesterday. And then we'll get into your comments from yesterday's video. But before we do that, a couple of reminders. We are so close to the start of the season, which means we're so close to also getting to 3K subs. So if you haven't hit the subscribe yet, if it's your first time here, appreciate you being here. But do me a favor, hit the sub, get involved. And one other plug, too. I know I've said this the last couple of days, but we're getting closer. On my other channel, Mike Zakarian's NBA Bit, we've got a marathon show for you. The very first day of the season on the 21st. So 6 days from now, we're going to be live all day long, giving away tickets, giving away some cash. We got plenty of guests coming on, and you just watch me slowly slip into insanity as streaming for 8 straight hours. My back will probably disintegrate at that point. It's going to be a real fun time, so I would appreciate some of the Celtics Daily crew, the old faithfuls, coming on over to the Bit, and if you haven't found that channel yet, it's me in the comments all the time. Mike Zakarian's NBA Bit, replying to you guys. That's me. All right, let's go. Enough of that. That's too many plugs. Too many plugs. But we got to pay them bills. We got to pay them bills. We're already doing bits this early. That tells you what we've got left for news today. But let's start with Al. I thought this was kind of interesting. So Nick Friedel, Nick Friedel used to be at ESPN. I believe he's at The Athletic now. Is that right? Is that where he is? The New York Times. Yeah, The Athletic. Good for him, man. Because I was a big fan of his. Then that he was a part of like the ESPN layoffs a couple years ago. But he did a big piece on Big Al. So I recommend everybody checking it out. I'll share a link in the comments afterwards. But I thought Al was like pretty candid and honest about some of the stuff about leaving Boston. And I just want to give you a couple of quotes from Al. Curious what people's thoughts are on this, but here we go. Al said, I think once that offseason happened and it started to progress, it became clear to me the team had different priorities, Horford said. Obviously, getting rid of Drew Holiday, getting rid of Kristaps Porzingis, and I know it's all salary stuff, but it was like a domino effect, and it was tough for me. It was a tough decision, but my wife and we prayed about it, knew that it had to be something that was it. I knew that it had to be something that was going to be, that my family had to be on board with me for us to proceed in something like this, and that was it. I thought it was kind of interesting that he was saying, like, because I saw a couple other quotes too. I want to see if I can get all of them, but where he was, trying to say like it wasn't just about money, but it was also about this and about that. But it does like seem pretty clear, right? Like, and I'm not holding anything against him either. I mean, Al Horford is going to be, I think, 40 this season, right? Like, I think he's going to be 40, and if that's the case, you're not trying to be playing rebuilding basketball. And like one of the other things that, we talked a lot about continuity and consistency and why this offseason has been important for like how everybody's been at camp early and saying all of the right things, right? One of the things that happens when Al, especially in his second stint with the Celtics, has been here for a while, right? When he leaves, I'm sorry, when he comes back, it's still the same crew there. And now he wins a title with some of his, now closest friends, and he sees them slowly start to leave. He now has to have that like conversation with himself. Do I want to stay here a little bit longer and like maybe not contend for a title? Maybe they do, but maybe not contend for a title. He's probably going to have to take less money to stay as well. And he's like, hey, man, I probably got like 1 or 2 years left in the chambers, and I want to be playing some playoff basketball. I want to have a shot here when we get down the stretch to, win. And I think it's as simple as that. I think it's as simple as that. And so even though he said it wasn't just a financial decision. I'm telling you right now, if the Celtics had an open pocketbook and they were able to spend all the money that they wanted to spend, I'm sure, and Porzingis was able to stay and Drew was able to stay, I'm sure Al would still be here. But I think on top of the Tatum injury, which he did reference in the piece too, I mean, it shows that the Celtics are in like a different phase of this era. Like it's not, I don't think we're closing the book on the Tatum JB thing, but this is what happens in these runs, right? And I'm not comparing him to the Chicago Bulls, which is what I'm about to do, or the Warriors from last decade. But like when you think about when these teams, right? Like, yeah, Steph is the same, or like Jordan and Pippen are the same, but the pieces around them move around, right? And that's kind of what's going to happen with the Celtics here in this next run. Like it doesn't financially, you just can't do it. You just can't do it there with the money that we have, and the players that we have. Like you have to make some moves like this, and it sucks. It would have been really cool to see Al just retire a Celtic. I imagine that when his career is done, assuming let's say he plays these 2 years at Golden State and then decides to retire, that he signs like one of those one-day contracts with Boston so he can retire a Celtic. I think he will be a Hall of Famer. Curious what other people's thoughts on Al. Let's actually like run through his career stats quickly. NBA champion Al Horford, right? NBA champion. I think he's made the All-Star a handful of times. Pretty long career. So in his career, he's averaged 13 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists on 50% from the field, 37% from 3, and 76% from the line. Can we get some accolades here? Hey, let's see. He finished second in Rookie of the Year. He made 3 All-Stars. Only 3. Wow. Okay. He was top 5 in Defensive Player of the Year. Top 10 in Defensive Player of the Year a couple of times, and then All-NBA team, All-NBA third team. He also, like, you forget the Florida stuff counts too because it's the Basketball Hall of Fame, not the NBA Hall of Fame. So he's got his back-to-back chips with the Gators, right? He was on those Gator teams, those back-to-back. We're going to take a coffee sip, guys. We needed a peek behind the curtain. Had my 40 and over basketball league last night. Played a bunch of I think, like, listen, legally speaking, every single team should be required to have one 5'7", 135 to 150 pound guy. 5'8". I'll up at 5'8", just to include a couple more short kings in there. And they just have to guard each other. That should be the rule. Last night, not the case. Smallest guy they had was probably 5'10", 5'11", and was a beefy, like, no disrespect, great athlete, but beefy. And we won. We won in overtime, first of all. So before I say I got my butt kicked, we won. All right, 3-1. But, I got beat up last night. I got beat up and I feel it. I feel it in my, you know how Jawan Jennings of the 49ers says he's playing with 5 broken ribs? I feel you, Jawan. I feel you. So far we've compared Tatum and Brown to Pippen and Jordan, and me to Jawan Jennings with 5 broken ribs. Anyways, I hope Al has a good time in Golden State. I hope they play competitive basketball. I mean, he's definitely playing with guys his own age, right? Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, the old gray hair club. Let's keep moving. Let's get to 25-26 predictions. Let's do some award season. We haven't done a lot of prediction stuff, so let's start. I'm not going to name the whole All-Star team, but these are like my Celtics All-Star takes. Then let's do some bigger awards here, okay? So I'm going to say Jaylen Brown's obviously making an All-Star team. Let's start there. Jaylen Brown's going to make an All-Star team. I think we got an outside shot of Peyton Pritchard and Derek White making it. I think Derek White's numbers, I feel like, are not getting enough love, and I feel like his scoring is going to uptick. I think we're going to see a pretty exciting season from him. So I don't know if they're going to get in, but I promise you when we get to the conversation of, like, who are those last 2 spots, one of those 2 guys are going to be in it. I do think the Celtics will have at least 2 people participating in the 3-point contest in L.A. this year for the All-Star game. And I'm going to say one of Pritchard, Simons, and White, or 2 of those 3. 2 of those 3 will be doing it. All right, let's get to the MVP conversation. We already had some fun where I said if the Celtics finish like a top 3 seed, that means Jaylen Brown's going to be like top 5 in MVP voting. Probably not happening. I think we are going to get skinny Luka to win the MVP. We're already getting the conversation that LeBron is got old man sciatica stuff, and it's going to be Luka's team like out the gate. I think he's going to put up crazy numbers. There is a world where Denver wins like 60 games and they just give it to him. Maybe they do back-to-back SGA, but we're going to plant the flag with Luka there, all right? We're going to plant the flag with Luka. Let's do 6th man of the year. You guys think I hate Anthony Simons? I think Anthony Simons is going to win Sixth Man of the Year. I think he is. I think he's going to put up historic offensive numbers this year for a bench guy, probably trying to mirror what Peyton Pritchard did last year. He's going to let it fly. I feel pretty confident he's going to come off the bench and Pritchard's going to start. So I think Simons has a real shot at Sixth Man of the Year. And I think that's a fun one. If you want to say a non-Celtic, if you wanted to bet on a non-Celtic, keep an eye out on Santi Aldama of the Memphis Grizzlies, who I think might even start a little bit. But the Grizzlies are without Zach Edey for a little bit. I said a little bit too much. They're without Zach Edey. They're without Brandon Clark for a while. Jaren Jackson Jr. should be back, but Santi's probably going to be that first guy off the bench, and I think he's going to be required to score a little bit more this year. So I think Santi Aldama is going to get a lot of buzz. One more dark horse. Miami's a weird team. Khalil Ware, who I don't think is going to start next to Bam. I think Miami's starting five is going to be like Davion Mitchell until Tyler Hero comes back. Norman Powell, Andrew Wiggins, Nikola Jovic, not Jokic, Jovic, and Bam Adebayo. I can see Khalil Ware putting up big numbers off the bench. So anyways, that's going to be my sixth man. Let's do Coach of the Year. I legit think Joe Mazzulla is a good bet for Coach of the Year. If like you guys are all saying, the Celtics aren't going to tank, they're going to go over, they're going to win 45, 47 games, then Mazzulla has to be in the conversation. I also think David Adelman of the Nuggets, this is his first time coaching. If you want first time full season coaching, right? He took over after Malone got fired. And if you think the Nuggets are going to be a 1 or a 2 seed in the West, I think they are a pretty good bet. Let's throw another dark horse out there. Mitch Johnson of the San Antonio Spurs. Another one, he took over for Popovich after he had his stroke last season. This is going to be his first full year. And Wemby looks insane. Also, I don't know if I've mentioned this have you been seeing the Luke Cornett highlights out there, dude? Luke Cornett is balling in San Antonio, and they came up with a nickname for Wemby and Luke. French Vanilla. I miss him so much. I miss Luke Cornett so much. Bring back Luke. I got to wear the t-shirt tomorrow. For those that don't know, the Luke Cornett t-shirt, come on. Anyways, that's gonna be that spot. Defensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year. Do you think Derek White gets in the conversation? Probably not, because Victor Wembanyama is going to win Defensive Player of the Year every year that he's eligible. And I think they changed the rules, right? You don't have to play 65 games this year. Is it this year or next year that goes into effect? I don't think you no longer have to have the rules that rule to qualify for the awards. Anyways, Wemby's probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year, but I bet Derek White gets some love. Derek White's insane defensively. The real thing here, let's do All-NBA. Jaylen Brown, second-team All-NBA. I'm not going to list all of them. That'll take forever. Jaylen Brown's going to make second-team All-NBA. I think Derek White's going to get on first-team All-Defense this year. I think he is. Am I missing any? What did we do? We did Sixth Man of the Year, Coach of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, MVP. I think we did it. We hit it. We hit them awards. The Celtics, I believe, have a preseason game tonight, so that'll be fun to react to tomorrow. Let's get to Joe, dude. So, did you guys see this yesterday? Mazzulla. Also, I just started thinking, remember Waterboy, Medulla Oblongata, right? Is that what the Mazzulla Oblongata? I don't know. Listen, we're working out bits in real time. It's early. Anyways, we're not editing that. Leave it in. Joe Mazzulla yesterday. Media was supposed to play each other. They do this every year. The media in the practice facility gets to play each other. I follow a lot of the Celtics beat writers, so Noah, Bobby Manning, Jay King, and they always play each other, right? They asked Joe Mazzulla a question, and I forget, it was something about the toughness in practice. I believe it was about the physicality in practice, and I think it was Noah that actually asked this question. Joe Mazzulla was really short answer, and then goes, hey, by the way, you're playing us today. You're not scrimmaging each other. You're playing us. So the Celtics coaching staff was like, hey, we're playing you. We're playing the media. And I was like, when I saw the report, I saw it happen before the game actually played out. And I was like, wow, this is a cool team building experience. Mazzulla wants to win the media over a little bit early. Just set the tone, the vibe, right? Dude, they beat them by 47. At one point, there's a great clip. I'll share this too in the chat. It says Phil Presley extends the lead to 47. Mazzulla was playing lockdown defense, just absolutely bonkers stuff. I think it was on Bobby Manning. There's just Mazzulla's just running all over the place. Now, this is not surprising. Joe Mazzulla is he was a D1. Where did he play? West Virginia? Yeah, of course. I just didn't expect them to go balls to the wall, and that is what happened in this game. So there's a bunch of good coverage on the CNLS media. Just really funny stuff. Missoula's a sicko, man. I just love that this came the day after how he feels like he's it's an incorrect perception of who he is or whatever the phrasing was, and then he comes out there and he's just like pounding the floor like he's Chris Duhon at Duke. Insane stuff. Love to see it. All right, let's get to your comments from yesterday. But just a reminder, if you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe, baby. Hit the subscribe. Get involved in the chat because that is what helps fuel the show. Yesterday was a fun one. We had some new people in the chat. We love it. Randy Savage right off the bat was like, I agree with what Joe was saying. The questions are repetitive and dumb. I respect it. JTM Stelsa said we need to get rid of Tillman. He said the dude does not add anything. He is small for well, I would say he is too big for a power forward, too small for a center. And he doesn't hit the three or grab enough boards when he's on the floor. Another aspect of his game that is lacking is defense as he's slow and struggles. And then Judge agreed with him. Okay, this is what I will say. I want to see Tillman. Tillman was really not healthy both up here and in the knee last season. I want to see if he's really healthy. The three ball supposedly is a little bit better. We've seen Tillman get after it on the defensive end, so I'm not ready to write off the defense. If he's healthy and still can't knock down the corner three, then it probably ran its course. I agree with you. But I want to see like 2 months. I want to see 2 months before we're just out there shopping them. Let's see. NGC said, you started to get in why I'm such a Missoula believer. What I think a lot of fans absolutely miss and undervalue is the importance of connection, respect, and the ability to gain buy-in, mind share is the most crucial aspects of the NBA coach to have. This is not college, he said in all caps. We were talking about grown men who have egos. They've worked extremely hard, top 0.05 percentile in the world. They know how to play. They understand the concepts. What you need to break down is their mental. They need to believe in their coach. They need to believe that their coach has the best interest at heart, that what they are being asked to do is best for the team. And it goes on. This is a good comment. It was a lot, though, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. But, I mentioned it yesterday with the leadership development stuff. Like, I think there's a time and place for, like, barking, right, where you're like, in somebody's face and yelling at them. But I think, like, the groundwork was probably better than legwork. The groundwork has to be laid well in advance for you to create the environment where that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that, I'm hesitant to use the word loving, but like if that loving, accepting atmosphere has not been created from the beginning, I don't think the barking lands in the same manner, especially like you mentioned. These are some of the best to ever do it. And so it's hard to lead that way. And I do think Missoula gets it. And I'm not saying Missoula's shy of criticism. Like, I think there's still stuff I'd like to see. As NBA Update said, Joe Missoula needs to learn how to create a play after a timeout and sometimes use the timeouts if their opponents go on runs. I agree with the play, like having some more out-of-bounds plays coming out of timeout. The one thing I thought he got a lot better with calling timeouts on runs. Like, that was something 2 years ago that I knew was a problem. I thought last year he was really on top of it. I thought he did a really good job in that aspect. Well, I think that pretty much hit everything. AJB said, I'm split on the idea of trading for a big now than later, mainly because Joe might have an aneurysm watching them get destroyed on the boards. That's true. They might need a big just like for his own mental health. But that's going to do it for me today. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Hit the subscribe. We'll see you back here tomorrow. We'll have some preseason to react to, as I have a stroke myself, I think, in real time. But we'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for hanging. We outskis.